Hey there. So computers are really good at some things and they're really bad at other things. And one thing they're really good at is doing the same thing over and over and over again without being bored. So I have a really simple program right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to run it and then we'll talk about how it works. So when I run the program, here is the output. It says hi, 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 goodbye. Now let's take a look at the code. This is called a for loop. And the way a for loop works is it repeats a certain amount of code for a set number of times. That's what it's really good for. Now this I right here, that could really be any variable. I is just the most common variable used, and you can think of I as being short for index. So for I in range 5, so what this means is we're going to have a variable that's a counter, so like an index. So I could call this counter. Think of it as just a variable that keeps track of what number we're on. We're going to do this code 5 times. And what are we going to do 5 times? We're going to print hi to the screen. And then after we're all done doing that, we're going to print goodbye. Now, just like the if statements, we need to have a colon at the end of the line to say, here is what my for loop contains. And everything that's indented coming right after that for line is going to execute. So for example, if I shift this print goodbye over here, this goodbye is now part of the for loop as well. So when I run this again, what's going to happen is it's going to print hi goodbye. There, it did it once. Then it'll print hi goodbye over and over until it's done it 5 times. So I'll run it again just to show you. See, hi goodbye, hi goodbye, hi goodbye, hi goodbye, and hi goodbye. There we've got 5 sets of hi goodbye. Now it is so common to use an I instead of the word counter in here that I'm just going to be using that from now on. Often other letters get used like K or J as well. Now let's modify this program a little bit to play around with it. Because I is a variable, we can actually print the value of I to the screen each time so you can see its value. Now, most of you are probably guessing that it's going to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but let's see what happens when we run the program. It prints 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that is 5 numbers there. However, it's always starting at a 0 and counting until it has 5 places. Now what if we actually just wanted to print the numbers 1 to 10? Well, we can do that by modifying this just a little bit. We can put range 1, comma, 11. So what it's going to do is it's going to start with the number 1 and it's going to go until it gets to the number 11. And now let's run that. So you can see we've got the numbers 1 to 10 right here. So once again, what's happening in this code is I is keeping track of which number we're on, and we're going to do this code a certain number of times, and I is keeping track of which time we are on. So the first time through, it's the number 1, so it prints the number 1. The second time through, it's number 2, it prints the number 2, and so on until we get to the end. Now what happens if we wanted to print the numbers 1 to 10, but we only wanted the odd numbers, like 1, 3, 5? Well, we could actually just count by 2s. So if we put in another comma here, and put the number 2, it's going to count the numbers 1 up until we get to 11, and it's only going to count every second 1. So if we run this again, you can see it says 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now if I were to change this to a 12 and run it one more time, you can see we actually get that number 11 as well. Well, what if I wanted the even numbers from 1 to 10? Well, let's start with the number 2 and let's stop at the number 11 and we'll count up by 2s. So if we run this again, you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And now of course, yes, you are able to count down. So what number do we want to start at? Well, let's start at the number 10 and we'll go down till the number 1 and we'll count down by 1 each time. So a -1 is how much we're changing by. And if we run that, you can see it says 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Again, it stopped when it hit the number 1. It didn't print the number 1. So if we actually want to get down to that last one, we'd have to change that number to a 0. And now you can see we get from 10 right down to 1. So always remember that that second number is off by 1 from where you want it. And lastly, we can actually pick an exact set of numbers that we want to print. So for example, if you knew the numbers that you wanted to print were, let's say, 10, 11, 15, 19, and 25, Well, that's pretty easy to do. All we have to do is we have to put them in square brackets like that, and then when we run the program, I will print the 10, then the 11, then the 15, then the 19, then the 25, and you can see here they are. Now let's just say, for example, we want to know all of the perfect squares that are made from the numbers between 1 and 10. In other words, from 1 up to 100. So what we could do for that is we're going to modify this program to say in the range from starting at 1 all the way up to 10, and we're going to count up by ones, so we don't need to put that last part in. We can just say from 1 to 11, which means we're going to stop after the 10th one, and we're going to print the value of I, and then we also want to print the value of I squared. Just like that. So let's run it. You can see 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, and so on, all the way up to 10 squared is 100. So this right here is just to put a little bit of a separation between the index, or the number that we're on, and the number being squared.